I guess it's about time to get started, so let's do that. I'd like to welcome everyone here tonight. Good to see so many here with us. We also like to welcome those in the broadcast audience. Appreciate you joining us for our Spirit of Life service. This is really just an educational program of the International Church of Metaphysical Humanism. Our mission is to explore the human spirit, explore science and spirituality, and empower the human spirit. Big, really big part of what we do, try to empower people and help people to see success in life. And so we teach lots of different things that are good for that, for practical life skills and many other things. We have several educational programs. This is one of them. We have metaphysicsinstitute.org, where we offer bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees in metaphysics with a number of specializations available, like spiritual counseling, life coaching, holistic healing, hypnosis, paranormal, ufology, cryptozoology, and several other variations of those. That's metaphysicsinstitute.org. We also offer standalone courses at our sister school, which is the ICHSworld.org, and there's a lot of our classes and courses that you can take there too. We also have paranexus.org, which is our anomalous research association, and several others too. And that's a little bit about the church, ICMH. Quick overview of tonight's program. My topic tonight is the conundrum of paranormal, I can't talk. I've been out of practice. The conundrum of paranormal belief and human nature. And I'll get into that in just a few minutes. Then Dr. Vicki Hunter will be Skyping in from British Columbia, and she will be talking on overcoming the difficulty of using our intuition on ourselves. So that should be interesting. And then we'll follow that up with a short guided meditation, and that will lead into our Enspirit forum, which is a time that you can share your thoughts if you wish, you can ask questions if you wish, but we'll do some inner oracle card readings, and I'll explain what those are pretty quick, as a matter of fact. Before we get into that, though, I'd like to read our abbreviated 9 principles of belief. These are available in detail on the wall. There's also some cards back here that you can read and take if you would like that have them all on it. This is just an abbreviated version. The first one of our 9 is do no harm, do right, foundation of everything. Number 2, we believe in the indomitable power of the human spirit. The answers we seek already exist within us. Number 3, we believe that we alone are responsible for and capable of solving human social problems. Number 4, we are equal. One planet, one race, one ancestry, one destiny. Number 5, we recognize and honor the divine energy that exists in all living things. Number 6, we are physical and spiritual beings. Consciousness survives death of the physical body. Number 7, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, and respect for free will creates self-completeness, which is self-actualization. Number 8, metaphysical education and practical life skills empower the human spirit and enhance the human condition. Number 9, expanding human consciousness leads to human evolution and peaceful coexistence. You've got the sun in your eyes. Well, that's a new one. Anyway, again, you can find all of these principles of belief as well as an explanation, a detailed explanation of them at metaphysicalhumanism.org. There's a couple of others, but that's the primary church location, metaphysicalhumanism.org. I have taken the liberty of already pulling an inner oracle card, which will serve as our theme tonight. And the card that I pulled is a wild card, number 5. Wild card number 5, which is simply don't hate, which is a good one. In fact, we have bumper stickers over there on the counter if you want one. It says, don't hate. So we'll try to include that in our discussions this evening. All right. As far as my topic goes, the conundrum of paranormal belief and human nature, I want to deliver this more in a less formal manner. If you have a question or a comment, feel free to raise your hands. We'll be happy to entertain those. Let's talk about this the conundrum of paranormal belief in human nature. When I say paranormal, I simply mean beyond the normal, right? That's what paranormal means, beyond the normal. And there's actually several areas that could fall into this. Anything that's beyond the normal, obviously the things we normally considered as paranormal, which is spirits, UFOs, cryptozoology, some of that, different things like that. But I'm going to include religion too, because it's beyond the norm. I mean, it's belief in that sort of thing is, you know, really, if you want to get technical, it's beyond the normal. Because, I mean, it doesn't matter what religion it is, anywhere in the world, because people are creating these belief systems to try to make sense of life, try to make sense of things. And, you know, it goes way back. They tried to make sense of these thunderstorms. They didn't know what to make of, you know, loud thunderclaps. So, you know, is that the gods angry with us? Well, let's sacrifice somebody and maybe they'll shut up. Oh, don't even get me started. So I want to talk a little bit about that because I've got some thoughts to share on those and that's why I'm doing this in a little less of a formal approach. Those are the two that I'm going to focus on. A couple of things I want to preface this discussion with are two of my 14 traits of human nature. I teach this in our degree program, in our metaphysical psychology course. And this one's number 8. It's the need to believe. The need to believe. And it's closely followed by number 9, which is the need for hope. But let's talk about the need to believe because that segues right into hope. And this can be a healthy or unhealthy thing, the need to believe. Same with hope. We all need to believe in something. We all do believe in something. We believe in many things. In fact, our belief creates our reality. You probably know that and have realized that. Our beliefs can be enabling or disabling. A lot of times when we don't see the success that we want in life, because they're disabling beliefs about ourselves, about others, about the world, whatever. We can become discouraged, depressed. When we empower our beliefs, when we have enabling beliefs for ourselves, it results in more success and happiness, positive feelings, and so forth. Disabling beliefs are negative and unhealthy. And a lot of folks have disabling beliefs. We could talk for all night on that, and I'm not going to do that. Number 9 of the 14, though, is the need for hope. So the need to believe. People got to believe. You got to believe in something. People do. They just automatically do, and there's a lot of beliefs out there. The need for hope, though. Why do people need to believe? Because kind of the bottom line is the need for hope. Think about that just for a minute. The need for hope. You can lose everything, but if you have hope, all is not lost. If you've lost hope, that's it. We're done here, right? So you can't lose hope, and so people have to have a hope, and that's so crucial to most people. You know, some people are hopeless, and that's because, again, of their beliefs, their own personal beliefs. This need in human beings is powerful, and it can't be underestimated, the need for hope. Maybe you've had a time in your life when you felt hopeless, when there was just no hope. So think about that. Again, big point here, and you know this, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. When hope is lost, everything's lost. But if you lose everything but you still have hope, we're good. That's cool, okay? So that's kind of the big thing. If we have lost our hope and we want to regain it, we change our beliefs. Right? So often we think things are hopeless, or we may think things are hopeless, but in reality they're not. It's just that our reality says they're hopeless, but in the big reality, whatever that is, the real, whatever that is, it's not. And it's because we lack some information. We lack data. So we learn something, we learn information, we acquire that, and we change our beliefs, and now we've reacquired our hope. All right, I'm going to apply this to religion in a sec, because there's some big questions. What I'm trying to do is give you a kind of a foundation here for what I'm going to get into. Let's start applying it. Let's apply it to paranormal phenomena. And again, paranormal phenomena, spirits, ghosts, UFOs, mysterious happenings, psi ability, which is, it is paranormal because we don't typically think of it as normal. However, psychic ability in humans is kind of a normal thing. It's just that not everybody has it to the same degree, right? Human belief is very much a part of the paranormal world. And maybe you have experience with paranormal in one way or another. Maybe you've done anomalous research. It's interesting what people will believe. And of course, if you've listened to anything we've said for any length of time, you realize that one of the things we advocate is being grounded. Keep your feet on the ground, keep your head on your shoulders, look objectively at things. Don't just believe because it's popular or because you want to. It's a pet thing with you. It makes me feel good to believe this. And a lot of people do that. Many, many people believe in things simply because they like it. Whether it is real or not is a whole different matter. And I'm getting more to that, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. All we have to do is look at the world around us to see the power of belief. All you have to do is look at the news. Now let's talk a little, factor religion in here. Do you think that we see that with religion around the world? The power of belief? People believe in that so strongly that they are willing to do almost anything. In fact, anything. Blow themselves up, take a few people with them. They're willing to kill their relatives for dishonoring them. There's all kinds of religious beliefs that people are willing to do. And they don't even think about it. They get raised that way and they don't even think. Well, you get into this country, and I mean, here we have Christianity. We're dominated by Christianity, right? And so you don't see the lengths anymore with Christianity that you do with such religions as Islam, but 500 years ago you did. But you don't see that. But doesn't mean that harm is not done. People will believe anything. Some religions, you leave it, you're shunned by everybody. Family, doesn't matter who you are. Children, parents, doesn't matter who you are. If you don't believe like them anymore, you're done. We won't even speak to you. I see you in the store, I'm not even going to look at you. I'm just going to look away. I'm telling you, it happens. Lots of stuff that people believe in. So the power of belief is hugely strong, and people will just about believe in anything. Let's bring it back to the paranormal. I'll give you an example. A few years ago, one of my chapters, we were doing anomalous research. One of my chapter folks, they did an investigation. The reason they did is because the client sent in a picture of a black orb. I'm sure you're familiar with orbs. Don't even get me started about orbs. In case you don't know, or for all intents and purposes, any orbs you see in pictures are not Sweet Aunt Martha. They're airborne particles. They result because the flash in compact cameras is too close to the lens and it lights up all the junk in the air. I want to believe too, folks. I do. But I'm not going to sacrifice my good sense just to believe in something, which is part and parcel to this discussion. Okay, so I'm not going to get into orbs. But this client sent in a picture with a black orb in it, and I'd like to put up the first picture, son, of this black orb. I'll get out of the way. You see up here? The top of the picture, there's a black orb. Excuse me. This client had a relative pass just prior to this, and she was absolutely convinced that this was her dead relative, deceased relative. And so that prompted an investigation by the team. They went up on the investigation. They were able to actually reproduce this because they also got a picture of a black orb. I've never even heard of a black orb before, okay, before or since. Let's do picture number 2. So you got the original picture that the client sent in on the left. On the right is the one that they captured, the team captured, when they were in that same room, same place. This client was absolutely convinced that this was her deceased relative. What was it really? What was the reality of it? Next picture, please, son. Do you see? It was the pole chain for the ceiling fan and lamp. Here's the interesting thing about this. I mean, you know, most people could see that. However, when the team said, oh, we were able to resolve that, explain that, she would not have any of it. She would not believe it, even with the picture. Nope, that's not it. It was my deceased relative. You cannot tell me otherwise. Here it is, right, staring her right in the face. And yet we see that everywhere, don't we? So what about us? What about us? When it comes to our own beliefs, are we keeping our feet on the ground, our head on our shoulders? Are we really analyzing why we believe what we do? Whatever we believe, whatever that is for us. You know, and it's been a huge thing, even with this church. You know, where do you draw the line? I mean, that's a question I've asked a zillion, gazillion times. Is that a real number? I'm sure it is in some universe. But where do you draw the line? And the big deciding factors is do no harm, do right. But we also have to do that for ourselves. Now let's bring it to some questions, an area that this is a big conundrum in my mind, because I'm not really sure of the answer. For example, I was raised Jehovah's Witness. Fourth generation. I knew that the sky was green, and I could prove it most of my life, up till I was 40, which was about 6 months ago. Do you believe that? Hey, I wouldn't believe it either. 16 years ago. Anyway, the point is that when I left, I lost everybody I'd ever known in my life. Period. End of it. They won't have anything to do with me. Family, brother, sister, parents, relatives, all of them. They were all witnesses. And you know, when you leave a cult like that, and your eyes start to open, and the scales fall off, so to speak, and you start to look at the real world, and you go through your existential crisis. You know, if anybody's ever left a cult, you know what I'm talking about. Well, you know, is there a God? Oh, gee, I thought there was. Always believed there was. Silence was deafening, though. So, you know, I went through a period of deism, which means, yeah, I believe in God, but he doesn't have anything to do with humanity. And then I settled on agnosticism. You know, I'm agnostic. I don't know whether there is a creator. I don't know. There could be. I do know one thing. It's not the same dude in the Bible or any other religious book, because, you know, that God was created in man's image. All you have to do is read it. So, whether there is or isn't, I don't know. But that's not the point. The point is that when you leave something like that, you want so much, because your awareness has grown, right? That's our job, to raise awareness. That's what metaphysicians do. We raise awareness. That's what we do. We try to raise awareness, help people to learn and grow and evolve. So you come out of something like that, you've grown and you've evolved, and you want to help them, right? Well, if you can, which is very difficult at times because of their strong belief system. But here's the deal. What about my parents who were up in years? Spent their whole life doing it. You know? And there's many of them like that. Spent their whole life enslaved, if you ask me. And yet they could have made a decision at any time if they would just wanted to, but they believed, and that belief is powerful. So now, what do? Do I prove to them that that belief system is wrong to try to help them to grow and evolve? Or do I let it be? You know, blissful ignorance. And obviously, I didn't try to change them, because that's another thing we teach. You know, you can't change people, you can't control people, stop trying. But so often we want to help people to grow and learn, but they just don't want to. So what do, you know? That's the conundrum a little bit, because these beliefs can be harmful to others. They can. And people can waste their lives away with the wrong belief system. I've seen it happen many times with my own parents, my own relatives. And it really, I don't have the answer, because you know, it's like, so what? Almost in my opinion, it doesn't so much matter what you believe as long as you do no harm and do right. You know, you want to believe in God, knock yourself out. Just don't form a codependent relationship on some mysterious, unknowable power. Keep it in perspective, you know, because the answers lie within each one of us. I mean, look, we can try to rely on some mysterious power all we want. Not a lot's going to change in the world. We can change the world. We got ourselves into this. We can get ourselves out of it. That's part of the 9 principles of belief. So this power of belief is strong, it's powerful, and it applies to a lot of areas in our life, paranormal, religion, whatever. Make sure your beliefs are empowering you, and if they're not, analyze them. Maybe something needs to change. Is change okay? Say yes. Absolutely. It's okay to change. A lot of people, I don't like to change. Stop that. Change is great. It has to happen. If we don't change, then in 100 years, we live in the same world we live in right now. And I don't want that. I know you don't either. So examine your own beliefs, make sure they're healthy, make sure you do no harm, and doing right. And that's all I have to say about that. All right, next up, we want to talk, of course, you know, don't hate comes into that. Didn't mention it, but I'm not going to hate you because you believe in a certain way, right? Hey, there you go. If you want to think that black orb is your deceased relative, knock yourself out. But there's only one person who's being harmed in that, and that's yourself. Okay, let's move on to our next part of the program, Dr. Vicki Hunter. Dr. Hunter is a board member of ICMH Church. She's also an instructor at Metaphysics
Dr.
Institute.
Hunter is a board member.
She does a lot involved day to day with the school and with the church. So she is coming to us via Skype from British Columbia, and we're working on getting her up here. Her topic tonight is overcoming the difficulty of using our intuition on ourselves. Dr. Hunter, welcome.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. What a nice group. That's great. I'm familiar faces and new faces. That's awesome. That's awesome. We have lots of people in the chat room too, so it's good. Glad to be here. Glad to be back after the summer. And thanks, Dr. Kelley, for that. That belief system is, you know, everything is about what we perceive it to be and what we believe in, whether it's ourselves or something outside of ourselves. And even something like intuition, a lot of people don't believe in intuition. And a lot of people, surprisingly enough, think that everything is quite factual and, you know, it's hardlined. And yet there's something in everybody that strives to know a little bit more. So if we analyze that, I think everybody does, at some level, believe in an intuition. Now, I would like to make a distinction before we start, the difference of what I call autosensory perception and intuition. Autosensory perception is something that we all have in our, like that third eye. It's that energy that we can read that's all around us. It's a perceptivity. People who are mentalists have really sharp, acute perceptivity, and that actually just comes from their brain. They're really high-functioning ASPs, as I call them. Other people, not so much. Everybody's been to the grocery store and somebody's crowding you. I call that low ASP. They don't know their own space. Intuition is that thing that we have that's not explainable. Like, how would I know that something might happen tonight when I'm not in the environment that I could get a logical explanation for? Or how would I get a sense of something just randomly that I can feel is going to happen to somebody that there's no explanation for? And yet, to a large degree, I was correct. So that's that other unexplainable kind of energy that links us all, I believe, that we can't logically explain. The thing is, that's really tough is that I even can always get a better sense of other people than I can for myself, which is really what I want to talk about tonight. But I had to preface that a little bit. It's very difficult for a number of reasons for us to read ourselves, to get a good sense of what's next, what do I do next, what's my intuition telling me about what's next, which again is very different than just reading the energy in a room and how should I respond. It's in daily life, what is my intuition of things for myself? Well, a very wise man once told me that we are subjectively objective, meaning we can never really be objective about ourselves because there's always going to be a subjective view. Most of the time it's because we have an emotional attachment to the outcome. We have emotional attachments that say, okay, I want to go that direction. How do I get there? What's my intuition about that? But I don't want to sacrifice anything to get there. But very often, in order to make a change, there is something that we have to surrender, something we have to relinquish or give up. And it might even be as simple as a belief system, as Dr. Kelley was talking about. If I have to give up this belief system in order to go there into another direction where my intuition is telling me to go, I'm going to start having a little bit of anxiety. And that inhibits my intuition. There's other reasons that intuition for ourselves is kind of tough. And most of the times because we don't have a brain file of what could happen to us. We can access all kinds of experiences that could happen to other people. But we have a brain file of life experience. We have patterns of thinking, patterns of beliefs. And if our intuition is telling us something brand new, I don't have a file in my brain that could tell me I could go there. So hopefully I explained that well enough that that kind of makes sense. It's just that we have life experiences that are limiting to our perceptions of intuition for ourselves. So how do we work with that? How do we begin to develop a better intuition? Well, first of all, I have to acknowledge next that our thinking is in layers. I believe this. I think that nothing is as linear and compartmentalized as we think. I think that I'm really good at a lot of things, but when it comes to money and relationships, I suck. You know, it's like life in layers. So we don't always catch up with ourselves. So it's being really careful about how do I now develop my intuition and in what layer am I looking at? Because it's, again, these little tiny belief systems that we have. I always call them like a thread in a blanket. Each of us is this big, beautiful tapestry, multicolored, all kinds of dimensions. We can think of it as, geometrics or circles, whatever you like, but there's one little thread, this one tiny thread in there that tends to act up and outshine the whole tapestry. So when that happens and it's kind of activated, our intuition in the whole tapestry can suck. So it's like, how do we access that? So sometimes in our development, we have to look at these layers of beliefs that we have and isolate that, what I call is, and take that thread out and replace it with a different thought pattern, such as what Dr. Kelley is saying about beliefs. And in my work with people, they think often the fear that, I don't want to be a complete mess. Well, you're not, we isolate a thread. Just that one little thread, people, and it actually takes a lot of the pressure off. So in developing your intuition, it's much the same thing. My bet is that everybody has really good intuition about certain things. Other things, not so good. So when you're not good at that, not good at a particular, intuition, look at the root of what might be in the way, such as a limited in your life experience, something that you don't know about and you're willing to embark on. something that you might be willing to give up, even if it's a belief. So those are little things that you can start to observe yourself, observe your thinking, observe your emotions. I think everybody at some level, though, wants that aha moment, that I knew it, that was my intuition, that was great, and they want to repeat it. So everybody goes to like psychic development courses for, how do I repeat that? How do I repeat it? We have to consider that we're human beings and that emotion is not duplicated. What that means to say is, yes, you can repeat happiness, but you'll never repeat it in exactly that one moment, in exactly that way. That's why some moms can lift a car off of, a baby, or somebody who's got run over. It's in that surge of emotion in that moment. And yet tell her to go lift that car and she can't do it. So we have to be really careful about what we're asking ourselves to repeat if we don't know what it was that got us started in the first place. So that's the thing that we want to work on, each one of us, to go back in a moment of time and say, what were my feelings? What was my environment? What was my thinking? And to self-study, meaning study the self, and say, oh, there's a feeling before the feeling. And that's where my intuition is. Lots of people have had this, I just knew it, I had to move across the country, I packed up my bags and I went. It's like an absolute gotta go. You see, and that affects all the layers of life, but that was that gut feeling, you gotta go. Well, that doesn't happen very often. And I think we have to, again, be really careful about what we're looking for in developing our intuition. There's a couple of things that I do for myself that I think are really, again, observing and helpful to me. I love the tarot. I love tarot cards. They're my favorite thing. I will do 5 different spreads for myself. Not just one. I don't do just one for myself. I could be picking up on somebody else's vibe. I could be picking up on a past client I've had, I've yet to read for. So what I want to find, and I do 5 because there's the 4 elements and then that 5th element, but that's just my thing for another time. I do it 5 times and I look at the same cards that might be coming up in all 5 readings. I look at the consistency, there's something in my higher consciousness, my super consciousness, the cosmic spirits, whatever is trying to tell me. But because I'm so subjective, I might not get it. So I want to be able to open my frame of reference and I want to see the connecting dots in each layout. I want to see the pattern that repeats. That takes me out of a belief system that I might have had, and it starts to get me to think, well, wow, I'm not sure what that means. Like, I'm not sure, but it's something that's new. It's a whole different thing for me. But that's opened my mind. See, and then I'll leave it for a day or two. And then I'll go back because now my mind has shifted, my beliefs are shifted a little bit, and then go back to it, and I might do the same thing again. What I know is that I'm evolving, and my intuition is evolving. This is a different kind of self-exploration than one would have, let's say, for your children or a loved one. That's a different kind of quantum entanglement where we have a sense about somebody and developing that. Sometimes you don't even have to develop it because it's right there. And I think every parent knows that about a child, or if you have a really strong bond with a friend or a partner, then you just bond and you could just, whoa, I just thought of somebody, and that's an intuition. So that's a different layer kind of what I was talking about earlier. So be observant about it as objectively as possible, which again, we're subjective, is be willing to continue to open the mind, change your beliefs, and observe yourself in a brand new way. But again, I want to say all those different layers that we have to ourselves, because we're not singular. We are multidimensional beings with so many aspects to work on. So I hope that, that's a little bit helpful. You could probably even do it with the oracle cards. Some people like angel cards. If there's some other tool that you can access, Maybe it's as simple as you've got a library of books. Go open all your books. Like, go open a book and open it up, and there's one line that and write it down. Go to another book and open that line and write it down. You see, you're tapping into messages from other places that you learn about yourself, so you can begin to observe a little more. There's just so many different ways to do it, but find some other ways you say, that's a really good thing to observe. So I hope that's been a little bit helpful for you tonight. I'm so glad to be back, and just I can't even fit in a don't hate. I just can't even fit it in, Dr. Kelley. I don't even know where to put that in my conversation.
Well, thank you, and we'll appreciate it. You make some great points, and we will see you back in a few minutes for the
We will.
Enspirit.
Okay.
Okay, she'll fit it in, I'm sure. All right, before we get into our guided meditation, do a couple of quick announcements. I'd like to thank everyone for donations. Those in the broadcast world too, appreciate that. It helps things keep going. If you're interested in becoming a member of the Metaphysical Church of Metaphysical Humanism, you can do that at metaphysicalhumanism.org. Just a matter of registering there. Next week's topics, my topic will be, is suffering really necessary? Change your thoughts, change your world. One of my graduates, Dr. Jason M. Palancana, will be Skyping in on and talking about how expectations retard our happiness. Time to take a drink, everybody. A group drink, eh? We should build those in. Throat getting dry. All right. So that's next week. Before we get into our meditation, I do want to present an award. One of my students is here, Jenny Cupo from Sarasota, and she's doing an outstanding job in the degree program. She's in her master's program now. One of the things she does as a Cub Scout leader, and she sets a beautiful example for her Cub Scouts in paying it forward and helping others, and paying it forward is a big part of our belief system. And so one of the things that we do at random, and when we see a need or a reason to give it, is our Pay It Forward award. And so I gave her this the other day, but since she's close by, I told her to come so I could give it to her in person. This is the Pay It Forward Humanitarian Award. We haven't given out a lot of them yet because I just am waiting to see reasons to give them out. It's one of our 2 humanitarian awards. But since Jenny is here, I'd like to present it to her in person. Jenny, please come up and accept your award. I'll talk to you about it afterward. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Great job. Keep up the good work. I like giving those out. So, this is a good time to tell students, if you're doing stuff, if you're paying it forward, or anyone for that matter, make sure you talk about that in your assignments and stuff. Let us know. And we have no other way of knowing, because some of us around here aren't psychic, I mean. So let us know. Okay, let's do our guided meditation. This is just a 3 or 4 minute time to just kind of get in tune, play some nice music, find yourself in a comfortable place. Feel free to close your eyes if you wish, otherwise stare at a point just straight across from you. Just focus on it and take a deep breath in through your nose. Hold on to it for a moment and just release it out through your mouth and let your body relax just a little bit. You can let it relax a lot too if you want. Just breathe for a moment. Allow your mind to settle, your thoughts to settle. Another deep breath in through your nose. Hold on to it for a sec and let it go right out through your mouth. And again, feel your body relax and your mind settle. I wonder if you can imagine a beautiful ball of light right above your head. This is your soul light. It's your higher self. And this beautiful, brilliant ball of white light connects to everything there is. You might even see little sparks and tentacles of electricity reaching out to everything else in the universe, because we are all connected. We are all one in reality. I wonder if you can now see this ball of light, visualize it, bring it right on in down to the middle part of your body, solar plexus, and just see it there, and allow your body to fill up with this beautiful light. This light that is you, your higher self, your soul light. This light is nurturing. It's warm. It's healing. See it going to every part of your body, healing every cell, comforting you, helping you to know that there is hope. There's always hope. See it filling you up. And if you have a part of your body that hurts, it's painful, just allow it to go there. It'll seek its way there. And just allow it to nurture and heal that part of your body. And if your spirit is down a little, allow it to lift you up. Because everything is possible with you. You have the ability to do anything you really want to do. And you understand, because of this beautiful soul light within you, that you are worthy of all the good things in life, same as anyone else, no more, no less. You feel good about who you are, warts and all. It's okay. Everybody is unique. Everybody is perfectly themselves, just the way they are right now. And as you see this beautiful ball of light filling you up, you understand that it is perfectly filling you up, perfectly strengthening your spirit, perfectly encouraging and empowering you. And you feel the lift. In fact, as you allow this beautiful light that is you to fill you up, you stand just a little taller. You sit a little taller. You understand that you can do anything you want. It's just up to you. You understand that everybody is entitled to the good things in life, the same as you, no more, no less. You understand that just because people believe differently, it's fine. You understand also that in your own belief system, you do no harm, you do right, you do good, you pay it forward, you help others who need it, and you give the gift of an encouraging word to everyone, even a smile. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3, and as I do, you'll see this beautiful ball of light rising to take its normal position above your head. It's always there for you. 1, feeling so much better now, feeling more relaxed. 2, a little more energetic, feeling like you've been lifted up. And 3, eyes open wide, feeling so good. You are capable of anything you want to do. You are enough, and you're perfect just the way you are. Welcome back. I heard no snoring. That's good, huh? All right, the Enspirit Forum is basically an opportunity to comment. And if you would like to comment or ask a question, I have a mic. We don't put the camera on you, but I do have a mic so that our broadcast audience can hear you. So anybody have a question or comment before I get into the oracle cards? Anybody have any questions? Nobody has any questions? Anybody have any answers? I thought I could ask. You never know. All right. Let's bring Dr. Hunter back on too. And remember our theme card for tonight, don't hate. Just because somebody's different, that's okay. You know, they want to do something differently. They want to be human and act like humans can sometimes, as long as they're not hurting anybody, that's fine. Let it go. Don't hate. Dr. Hunter, any comments on this card?
Well, I'll read the card, actually, the meaning in our little booklet. So, a low energy signature refuses to learn more in order to better accept and understand others. Hate grows in this frequency. The result is fear, demonstrated as the need to criticize and control others. So that's something that we need to understand. This is how wars begin, whether it's in relationships, families, or countries. Understanding does not mean one has to agree. And that's a really important point to note, about beliefs. And it means rising above the low frequency to do no harm and do right. So that's really what the essence of the don't hate symbol is within the Oracle card deck. So for people who are watching this and in the archives later, just to know that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Hunter. These cards are our own inner Oracle cards. This basically has everything we believe in it for the most part. Plus there's the guidebook, which I have over here too. Dr. Hunter just showed it to you. And it explains all the different cards. There are 54 cards here. What these cards are designed to do to get you thinking. They're self-discovery cards. Dr. Hunter was talking about going and opening a random book to a random page and reading a random sentence and then contemplating that. Well, that's essentially what these are. It's just that they follow our entire 9 principles of belief, our sacred obligations, life leadership paragon, which I really haven't gotten into today, self-acceptance, self-responsibility, respect for free will, and self-completeness. Anyway, if you would like me to pull a card for you, or if you're here in the audience, you certainly can come up here and take your own card. Or if you're in the broadcast audience, if you'd like a card pulled for you, please say so in the chat room and we will get to you. Anybody here want a card? You want to start us off? Jenny, you want to pull one or you want me to pull one? Okay, good choice. And I just pause for a moment like I'm trying to get into the mode. It's all show, it's not real.
He's tuning in.
Yeah, I am trying to anyway. And then I go with it. This is card number 19 in the spirituality suit. Invoke the counselor within.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Listen to your own advice.
So the message.
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Hunter. Go ahead.
The message there for you is there are times to seek advice from others as a means to summon your own truth, but the answers that you seek lie within yourself. Look there. This may be a time to remind yourself to not codependently surrender your power to anyone or anything outside yourself. And it could also mean always determine your own path. And well, it does determine your own path and live according to the path that's right for you. I think Jenny is doing that. It just might be that little reminder that stay the course, stay the course, So it doesn't necessarily, when you pick one of these cards and it has that message, it doesn't necessarily mean we're doing anything wrong. It can just be an affirmation to fortify where we already are. And just that little reminder. So congratulations, Jenny. You deserve the award tonight. I'm really glad to see it. Glad to see you there, too.
Is there anybody in the chat room, Bud, is there Vicki? I guess Vicki's here. She can tell me.
Tracy Boyer is in the chat room, and she's first up.
I'm sorry, who?
Tracy Boyer.
Oh, Tracy, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We have a few
Tracy
Tracys, so I hope you didn't mind me saying her last name there.
Yeah. Tracy Boyer. Card number 2, self-acceptance, and the face value is esteem and validation. Esteem and validation. Vicki, you want to read that quickly, and then we'll move on.
Yes.
I'm sure we're going to have a few more.
Self-esteem is self-worth based on internal expectations and validation, not to be confused with them-esteem, which is self-worth based on external expectations and validation. That is what other people think. So them-esteem, for those who haven't heard that before, them-esteem is when you value yourself by how others see you. So high self-confidence is not the same, though, as high self-esteem. Self-validation is the highest regard you give to yourself. Fully experience the truths of your own path. So again, that's an affirmation for Tracy tonight, but I'm sure that everybody here can grasp just a little bit for themselves too. I love to I'm reminded when I read these too. It's, oh yeah, that's good.
And she just moved too, so we hope your move's going good, Tracy. Anyone
Yes,
here?
she's back.
Flickman? Shoshone. Did I get it right? Shushan? I was close. Would you like to pick one, or you want me to pick one? All right. Wow, I split it, and one was all by itself. Number 13, positive consciousness. We're gonna have to.
I just had it open.
Well, we're all in the same mind then. You want to give a quick
Yes,
definition?
it's your soul's natural inclination to be positive. Therefore, positive consciousness transcends positive thinking. As human beings, we can find ourselves with a need to filter negative and ill will, be at peace with your natural self, and continue displaying goodwill toward others. Don't hate, see, there it is, or hold
There you go.
hatred in your heart or resentment. Maintain your positive attitude even in the face of obstacles and discouragements, for they're just temporary.
Great.
Little message.
And see that the idea here is take something out of that means something to you, and if it fits, wear it. If it applies, great. If not, you move on. It's the point of these cards. Who else would like one? Pauline, would you like me to pick one? Polly. All right. It's this one. Sacred obligations. It's card number 31. It's service to self and others. In fact, our sacred obligations are listed up here. Do no harm, do right, reclaim your power, attune your life leadership paragon, pay it forward, deliver your greatness. So sacred obligations are those things that we do because we should do. Anything you want to add, Dr. Hunter?
Well, it's just a reminder that control and change only what you have the power to control and change, and evolve and grow as a human being with higher awareness. Promote your knowledge and more. Continue to aspire to your highest good. So I would say that's also another one that stay the course. You're on the path. Good for you. Yeah.
Pamela? Do you want to choose one or do you want me to? We have a chooser.
The ladies first, I see.
May I make a comment that I didn't have to say before?
Oh.
This is my first time here.
Oh, wait.
Just wanted to quickly say something real brief.
Go ahead and repeat that.
This is my first time here. I've heard of metaphysics, and I've probably explored it in other avenues. But what I really am feeling strongly that I like about this, that I've heard so far, it's not magical thinking.
Oh,
Even the picking of the card, it's not magic that there's a card waiting for me. That's how I'm seeing it. It's going to give me some information to think about, and maybe it will open my mind up to another aspect.
great. Good comment. The magic
Thank
part
you.
comes later. All right. Just kidding.
I do magic.
That's extra. All right. No, you're right. You got it. Anything you want.
Service to self and others. Ooh, one planet, one race,
Oh, good.
one ancestry, one destiny.
It is card number 35. It's the one planet
Yeah.
card. It's one of our favorites,
You
It's a
know,
big
that's just
motto.
a reminder.
Go ahead.
It's our reminder that divine energy lives in all things. That's really the simplicity of the message, is that we are one planet. We're just all connected by one divine force, whatever our perception of that divinity is.
Tolerance, respect. Is there someone else in the
Yes.
chat that wants, and we'll come to you, Ralph.
Oh, you.
No? Ralph? Okay. You want to choose your own, or do you want me to do it? You're brave. Well, that was a good slide. It's number 31, Sacred Obligations. I don't know how I do this. I just picked it. Pauline. Pardon?
Well,
I'm
pick
sickic.
two more.
So, sacred obligations, same as what we just talked about. And think about the obligations in your life. Here's a quick thing for you and for anyone else who's interested. we have different types of obligations. We have some obligations we just really can't get out of. They are morally sacred obligations. We have other obligations that we think we can't get out of, but that's just disabling beliefs. We might feel obligated to family when the family is really violating boundaries, for example. But we feel, oh, it's our family, got to do anything for family. Well, that's just a disabling belief system. So think about sacred obligations. Anyone else like a? Okay. And then we'll come to next to Jenny, which is probably not your real name. I got it right. I am psychic. You want to pick one or you want me to? It's the one on the end. Continuity of life. It's number 16. It's in the existential suit. Continuity of life basically is, this is not it. This is not the end, right? Go ahead and read it. It's a nice way of saying you don't die.
Yeah. Human consciousness transcends the physical body, allowing a new chapter of life to continue. Stability and peace is assured with continuity in the flow of day-to-day life. There is reason to hope for a favorable outcome in the face of adversity or a difficult situation. You're a living example of the continuity of life. Cherished values will continue to live and grow. Sometimes we must allow a current chapter to close so that a new chapter may begin. So that's a pretty powerful message right there, I think, for somebody.
And that's good for chapters in this life, too, right? Sometimes we think we're losing something, but it's just one chapter closing because another one's going to open. Different phase of life. So, your name, sorry? Michelle. Do you like to pick one or do you want me to do it? You want to come up and do it? All right. It's hard to spur them all, but you pick anyone you want. Anyone you're drawn to. Okay, you can look at it. You want me to read it? I can just put it away. It's number 3, wild card number 3.
Wild
and
card.
The face value is blocks. Blocks. It's actually
Well,
a good card.
This is
Wild
an
card.
interesting.
Energy at hand is outside the norm, is what the rest of it says. Blocks.
Yeah. This is a very interesting card. We can all relate to it at certain times, but this would be a particular message for you. There's a time for movement and a time to sit still. That's precisely what it's saying. What may seem like blocks could be an opportunity to reevaluate, while allowing the universe to open new doorways. Sometimes we're writing a new script, right? At times, we simply need to get out of our own way in order for events to unfold as they should. It can feel like free falling when a leap of faith is required. So if blocks continued, it may be a time for a new direction. Don't dismay. Blockages serve purposes and diligence and insights required, but remain open. So that's another really big message, probably relating to something very specific in your life. So.
And remember that blocks can also result from disabling beliefs. And here's another nugget that I'll finish this one off with, is sometimes the solution you're looking for lies outside of your belief system. That means you have to expand your knowledge, your beliefs, in order to find a solution. That's a huge one. That's worth a lot. Anyway, anybody else want to get probably time for one more? Vicki. Okay. I've shuffled them. There's 2 here, right or left? Unknowable. It's wild card number 4. Is that the one you picked?
Yeah.
We have these cards out here too. For those of you who are here, you can go and pick one out and look at it. Go ahead, Vicki. Dr.
This
Hunter,
is
not you, Vicki.
Do you spell it with an I or a Y?
I.E.
Oh, she's different.
She's different in more ways than one.
Good. The unknowable is actually one of my favorite symbols in this. I mean, I love them all, but this one, it kind of gets a twinge going. There are mysteries in the universe. Not all can be known or predicted. A focus of deliberate intent can reveal valuable unforeseen knowledge for what lay ahead. Remember, we only see what we know and believe. The universe is unfolding in ways that are unknowable to your existing ways of thinking. You know, we talked about that earlier. Change your mind and you change your world. Change your mind and what was once knowable, unknowable, now may be knowable. Tongue twister. Listen to the subtle leadings and incitations of your higher self. What was once unknowable is now knowable again. Remain flexible and open to change.
Good. So hopefully that makes some sense.
It means anything's possible.
Sorry? I'm sorry.
Anything
Vicki?
is possible.
Yeah, it is. So hopefully there's some stuff to get you thinking, you know, and if it wasn't your card, maybe it still got you thinking, and that's the point of the inner oracle cards. And if you're interested in your own deck, we have some here. They're $30. If you're online, you can go to metaphysicalhumanism.org, and they're the same price, but there's a little shipping on that. So you can find them in our store online, so or here. Anyway,
if I
next,
may,
yeah, go ahead, Dr. Hunter.
You know, a comment was made by one of our audience members there about, you know, we're not in magic land or foo-foo land, and even metaphysics and some of these odd things that we seemingly do, like what seems odd to common thinking, is explainable, whether it's via quantum physics or some other explanation that is metaphysically based, meaning there's other realms of consciousness. So we try to keep it really grounded and sensible, and we try to connect dots differently. For instance, you know, when you have that sense about somebody you know who's 1,000 miles away, that's a quantum entanglement. That's not a foo-foo land magical thing. That's actually energy. And we can find new ways to explain things, and that's what we do here constantly. What I love about IMHS is that we're always doing research. We're always looking for new information that's on the internet, what other people are doing. And so we're explorers, you know, and we love to keep exploring. It doesn't mean to say that we don't like to believe in things that are a little bit foo-foo, because I'd sure love to be able to do a lot of that stuff. But it's still looking for a credible kind of sensibility in a knowing. What I was talking about, we're talking about belief system and intuition. From the time I was a little girl, I just knew it, even if I couldn't explain it. So my journey as a metaphysician is to try to find ways to explain it. And there are explanations. So that's what we do our best to do here.
Very good. Thank you, Dr. Hunter. Appreciate your presentation tonight. We appreciate everybody here who joined us this evening. Appreciate everyone in broadcast land that joined us for this live broadcast, as well as those who might be watching the archives. Again, we'll be here next week with guest speaker and other topics. Until then, I encourage you to listen, think, learn, grow, and live. Thank you.